This takes place in 1930. It's supposed to be the mob car chase in the middle of the street shooting guns at each other. That may have been able to happen back in 1930, but in my time, that would have never happened. A shootout like that in the street. There has been people getting killed, and innocent people have got killed in mob wars, but I don't remember ever having a shootout like that. So maybe in 1930, that was possible, and it did happen like that.
Where to?
Anywhere. Fast. I hope you're damn fast. Faster than Sam here was.
After a mob hit, people have to disappear. Like when Paul Castellano was killed, people probably went down into the subways and jumped in cabs. So that's realistic to me that after trying to do something like that, they got into a cab that would happen to be standing there. So that all makes sense. They went to the social club. That's where the boss hangs out. They're going to take care of the driver, which makes sense. At this point, there's only two things they could do with that driver. Either they could kill him because he knows what's going on, or they could take care of him because they liked him. So evidently, they're going to take care of him rather than kill him.
We always have positions for guys as good as you.
Okay.
I don't think that would happen that fast to offer him a job. They might tell him to come around, have a drink, have a cup of coffee to feel him out, but they're not going to offer him a job like right from Jump Street. I mean, even though he did the right thing and drove them to where they had to go and all that, he didn't dog it.
Jesus. We got you, you little rat.
Okay. Now I have a problem with this scene. There's no reason for them to go after the cab driver. Nobody know who he was. He was a random cab driver. They know who they're chasing. This is out of character. There's no way this would happen. They would never go after the cab driver. There's no point in it. He doesn't know who they are. He's just a legitimate random cab driver that these other guys jumped in his car with a gun. And to me, this scene makes no sense to me because it would just wouldn't happen. There's no reason for it. The only people that would have hurt the driver were the people he drove to that club. But they chose to give him money instead of hurt him. These other guys have no reason to hurt the cab driver because he doesn't know anything and he's just an innocent guy. So I have a problem with this scene. So he said to Mr. Morelli, that's the boss of the other family. He didn't know who anybody was, so he didn't choose to help the other family. He just was a victim of circumstance because he was stuck there with his cab. So he didn't help them, knowingly help them. He just was a victim.
Cagliari's bar was just down the street. The side of it was...
Now this part I could understand. If the driver actually did get a beating, either he would just forget about it and live scared or go to the people for help because it's their fault he got beat up. And there were a lot of shootouts in clubs. People did get killed in places like that. There were hits in there.
What do they call you, son?
Thomas Angelo.
Okay. So this guy yesterday was a cab driver, and now today he's sitting with a suit and tie on talking to the boss. In reality and in the mob, that's never going to happen because there's protocols. When someone's accepted as an associate, which he was because he drove them and he went to them for help and they like him, they think he has potential, so he's an associate. An associate hooks up with a soldier, which is probably the guy sitting next to him. The soldier puts the associate on record with his captain because the captain has the regime. An associate goes on record with the captain that he's with so-and-so. The captain brings it to the boss. And now the guy gets put on record that he's with whatever soldier puts him on record. So like I'll use Fat Andy, my father. So an associate would go to him, he would go to his captain when he wasn't a captain, and the captain would go to the boss and they would put them on record. Eventually, associates will meet bosses. Like I was an associate, I met Paul Castellano, who was the boss. I met John Gotti, who was the boss. I met O'Neill, who was the underboss. I met Joe Gallo, who was the consigliere, and on and on. I met other bosses of other families, Joe Messina, Vic Amuso, but I was on record with Fat Andy and Tony Lee. So it's a nice scene, but this isn't going to take place that fast, you know? And I don't know, especially him meeting a boss of a family so soon. Like, that's unrealistic. Totally unrealistic. That's not going to happen at all. You're not going to meet the boss the second day you're on the job. That ain't going to happen.
I've decided to give you a shot, Tommy. I like new faces.
And that's another thing. A boss ain't going to give anybody a shot. It's always going to come from the soldier that you're with, whoever you're on record with. The boss is never going to tell you what to do unless you're a made member. Like the Gigante, he never would have met an associate. It would have been impossible for that guy to ever meet an associate. He would have never done it.
The one behind the bar is Luigi. This business ain't easy to...
Even this scene. So where's the underboss? Who's the consigliere? The lawyer is the consigliere. What is this, Tom Hegan? You know what I mean? Like, where's the captains? Who's the captain? Who's the soldier? Who's the underboss? Who's the consigliere? We know who the boss is, but we don't know who anybody else is.
Paulie will go with you just in case. Go see Vinci.
And that's another thing that's never going to happen. A boss is not going to tell an associate to go commit a crime unless the associate is like John Gotti. It was when he killed McBratton in Staten Island for Carlo Gambino. So this is another scene. I mean, you know, it's good for the game. I mean, I like it, but it's not in real life. This is not real life. So.
Buongiorno, Vincenzo.
Ciao, Paulie.
I don't know about this. I mean, we always had guns stashed in the clubs. We had traps. I never heard of a gun expert dispensing guns to mob guys. Like, our crew always got our own guns. You know, a lot of guns were brought up from down south in New York. They were smuggled up from down south because it was easy to buy guns down south. And we had traps in our clubs. Like, we had a trap in Cafe Liberty, a hiding spot where there was always a gun. Some of us, like Ronnie One Arm, he always had a gun on him because he had one arm. I mean, certain guys always had guns on them. A lot of guys had knives. We always had something in our car, a bat, a pipe. Like, I always had a bat in my car. My father always had a club in his car. But our family never had this, but I'm not saying that maybe another family didn't, but we never had like an armory.
This classic piece of sports equipment should do the job, and if not...
Like I said, we always all had bats. And there were bomb experts, so when Frankie DeChico got blown up in Brooklyn, after the incident, it was known that the Gigante, the boss of the Genovese family, and Vicar Musso, the boss of the Lucchese family, imported Sicilian guys from Italy that were bomb experts to plant the bomb under the car that blew Frankie DeChico up. So that is reality. I mean, there were experts brought in to do certain things.
Ralph, Tom and me have a job to do. You're supposed to have some wheels for us?
Right. Here it is.
Stolen cars were used for robberies, for murders. You're not going to go with your own car. So places like that did exist, garages, warehouses, where stolen cars were brought to be chopped up, to sold, or stashed to be used on a hit. When they hijacked trucks, they would follow them with stolen cars. So this is reality, you know, having garages like that where stolen property or cars or whatever were stashed in. And we had a mechanic with us named Frankie the Mechanic, and he ran the chop shops for us. So I could see this happening. After you have a beef, a little retaliation, send a message, send a warning. I actually had a car burnt up on me. We had a bar fight, and I left the car there, and the people that I had the bar fight with lit the car on fire. A little retaliation. So this is definitely something that would happen. You know, if you're having beefs with another crew, you have retaliation in one form or another. So this is just a form of retaliation. Send a little message, sort of like send a message to maybe bring it to the table, to have it ironed out, or it's going to escalate.
He's one tough customer.
In that case, welcome to the...
This just goes back to what I said earlier. A boss isn't going to do that welcome to the family. I mean, it's just not realistic. The soldier would report back to the captain that he stood up. Tommy did a good job. He's a good guy. I think he stand up, and so on and so forth. But to have direct contact with a boss, it's very, 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 very rare. Okay, everybody, this is the end of part 1. I'm going to leave it off here. More to come, which is going to be an extortion pickup, which I actually went to prison for, picking up Shylock money, which this is the next scene. They're going to go pick up money that's owed to the family, which is called usury or extortion.